Welcome to Show Up. This is a update that we are unfortunately having to have after our election that did not go as we had hoped, and it has been a rough week for many of us, some more than others, and especially with navigating the group and trying to be respectful of everybody's feelings and how they are moving forward. A lot of people are comparing it to grieving. I think that that's probably appropriate. However, I do want to be mindful with that because some of us are actually still grieving from losses in our life that are not going to be able to be recovered. So this group was started in spirit of the grief I was experiencing from the loss of my father, who was the closest person probably in my life. So I was able to do something that I feel like is extremely important and valuable through grief. And I think when we talk about grieving, we have a tendency to think of it as a state of mind in which we cannot be productive or do good things or great things. And I'm here to remind you that that is not true. So when we use the word grief of the election, I think it's easy because it feels like a loss. Well, it was a loss, but it's not in the same way that I see it. And I think that I am allowing people to use this platform, and Janetta as well, as we see posts that were coming in, and everything obviously day to day changes as far as the environment and the temperature of the room from the day of the election to the day after the election to then every day after. We've seen the vibe change daily, and it is our responsibility as admins, and Kelly and Teresa, our other two admins, are the only ones that are responsible for approving or declining posts. It's our responsibility to stay true to what this group is here for. And it's really the responsibility of the members to continuously remind other new members coming in. Have you read the About? Have you seen the featured videos? Have you gone to Dakota North to see some of the interviews? Do you understand why this group started, why we're here today, and is this group really for you? So when I say, is this group for you, Janetta is going to understand that this means, like, is this group for you if you're going to be upset that it's for those who identify as women only? Is this group for you if this is not a place to dump your memes and memes and memes, or music videos and more music videos and more music videos? Is this group for you if the only form of action that you can provide to yourself and to the people around you, social media use? Because although this is a social media platform, my goal was to utilize it as a way to organize women quickly and also provide actionable ways of supporting your community. And so although we've had challenges in that between the birth of the group and getting the meaning of the group across to thousands of people as they've entered, to then doing the marches, to now coming out of the marches to the loss of the election, we have tried to navigate all of that while also being relevant in your news and your Facebook stream. So we want people that are getting invited to this group that have no idea you invited them. You invited them. They're now in the group. They're scrolling through Facebook. We want the Show Up title that comes up on the top of whatever post to always have alignment with what our objective and purpose is to the post that then you're reading below it. So it is not to offend people that we're declining posts. And there's only so many rules that we can put out there. We don't want like rules upon rules upon rules. I think that once you truly understand the meaning of this group, you understand why something's approved, and you would, if you got the chance to see, why something was declined. And we can give you reasons all day long, whether it's a duplication or it's a meme, or it's a cited source that's not legit. Like it's a link. You know, we disabled links for a period of time. We got an explosion after the election of approximately 2,000 members and maybe even more.
Yeah.
It takes a while for the count to catch up on the main group. We've had a spike of engagement. We've had all these wonderful things, right? Because we want this group to be a site that is a mechanism of people with anxiety and heartache and depression and absolute feeling of, nothing's within your control. That's wrong. The site should be a place that people come to remember that these are the things that you can do to step up and to still show up for your community, because that at the end of the day is all we're going to be able to do no matter what, day in and day out. So we don't live or die by the basis of the election. That is a choice. That is a physical choice that you are making day in and day out. And every day we cannot be actionable. Every day we cannot make an impact and do something. But if we make a promise to ourselves that once a week we will, make a promise to ourselves that you're just going to try stepping up to be a state chat host. So when I say state chat host, I'm saying, are you familiar with where chats are? Like, go to chats, find your state, go right in it. You don't have to be invited into it. You can just start talking in your state chat. Introduce yourself and find out how you can help in your area. Find out who your host is. Those hosts are just people like you that volunteered to be a host to organize and help organize events or get people in their community involved in their local politics, to show up for their town meetings or their city meetings or their county meetings. And where are the open seats? You don't necessarily have to run for office, but you can know who's sitting there making decisions for us on a state level. And so that is what we're doing here in Plattsburgh. I want people to kind of see what we're doing here and then go, okay, what's working there and how can we mimic that in every single area? So if you are interested in being a state host, please introduce yourself in that group and say, I'm so-and-so, I'm interested in being a state. We're in all of those chats. It might take a minute for us to get there, but I'm in every single, I might just read and leave. But if you're volunteering to be a state host, I want you to connect with the other state hosts so that we have a network of hosts within a state, because states are big, and that we have multiple state hosts in a state that are engaging in events and or engaging their members within that chat and how they can get involved politically and also in community basis. So how I've explained it is that our group is political undertones, because right now politics more than ever are affecting social causes. Mm-hmm. With the majority of what we're leading with as a show group, as a social activist, human rights, special interest group, and that everything we do is for humanity. And unfortunately, despite our liking it or not, humanity includes MAGA loyalists. Humanity includes Republicans. Humanity includes independents. Humanity includes working family. I don't care what your political affiliation is. When we show up events, whether that's for homeless, whether that's for veterans, whether that's for advocacy of healthcare, whether that's for anything that you've decided, women's shelters. I'm seeing a lot of discussion happening, which is fantastic, about the events that you guys want to represent in your town, community, state. Whatever that is, it's for everybody. And the only way we're going to make connections with people, and the only way we're going to teach people, because education is key here. Without education, no one learns anything. We are going to have to maintain that mentality despite our anger, despite our disbelief that these people just don't get it. We do have to remain vigilant in being the better party. And so undertones of political awareness with outwardly facing social causes. That is what this group is built upon. So when you hear the word show up, you know that we are here for everyone. We're showing up for everybody, because we don't know by looking at, well, sometimes we know by looking at somebody, but sometimes you don't know by looking at somebody how they voted. And you might share a common cause or something, an event that they also feel very passionate about. And once people connect, they meet in the middle. And the only way we are going to move forward in this country is if we learn to meet in the middle to some degree. And we might not like each other here and here, but if we can learn to meet in the middle here, then we learn to tolerate one another for our differences. And we're all different. We're all different. And so we really want people to engage in the chats and strengthen their communities, have conversations, and it doesn't have to be daily, but just get in there. And we really want people to remember that if you're taking it personal as to why your posts aren't posted, you probably don't belong in this group, and that's okay. It's okay to say this group isn't for me. But remember that you are here for a reason. If you find yourself here and you don't know what to do, ask. Say, I don't know what to do. How can I be helpful? We are still organizing. We're growing quickly, but we're organizing simultaneously with new chat hosts and new moderators. And we would like for everyone, has it been, it's been over a week. God, time
It'll be 2 weeks Tuesday.
2 weeks Tuesday. It hasn't been that long.
No.
And so I think that everyone's like, okay, yes, we're ready to do something. What are we doing? Ask, how can I help? How can I help to get something started? Don't be the person always looking for somebody else to tell you this is what you're going to do. How about if you think of ideas and then try to figure out who your host is? If you don't have a host, maybe you should try it. It's not that difficult. It's about engaging people in conversation of how do we do things in our area. That's not difficult to do. You guys are already spending the time probably on Facebook. It's just using it in a way that's actually productive. Mm-hmm. If you're not somebody that's hardly on Facebook, this group's probably not for you. Yeah, I mean, we have a special election that's probably happening in our district in New York. And so for Janetta and I who live in Plattsburgh, it's very important for us to be involved in that conversation. And we're steeped into that political convo. But I want to hear from the chat hosts who we are routinely going to be meeting with what the conversation is going on in their state. Be the state that has something to serve to the group, because we're going to hear about it. And if we hear about it, we say that's a great cause, we're going to be sharing our resources and time with you to make sure that's successful. Mm-hmm. So do you have anything to say, Janetta, about the group process as of today compared to 2 weeks ago? Because it's changed so much.
I just think that as far as posts go, if you're trying to post something and it does not get posted, that means it's probably already there. Type in the search, a couple of the words you're trying to post, and join in on that conversation. So it's probably already there.
Yeah, a lot of duplicates.
And we encourage the conversations to still happen. Everybody's still having all of these feelings. So, of course, still have these conversations. We're not telling you not to have conversations, because every day is not going to be an action like you just said.
Yeah.
So still have the feelings. Everybody's still going to have emotions moving forward. It's only been almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's not, just saying that we want to move forward. It isn't realistic, but follow the conversation with some action. Like, be angry, be upset, be mad, be sad, have all of that, but continue the conversation with, what are we going to do next?
Yeah, and how can
action-wise.
Yeah.
Right, how can I help? And if you see something, like you said, if you see an event happening in your state, bring it up in the group. We've had a couple of those, and when I do get those posts, I ask them to share in that state chat. If you're not in that chat, find your chat, share that event there, because it's going to do better there. And then if it's something that can be shared in other states, then we will do that. But it makes more sense to share something that's happening in Tennessee in the Tennessee
chat. And
it's going to get more attention there. And then we can continue. If you've invited 20 people from your state, try to get them into your chat. That's going to be helpful as well too, because there's so many people that don't even know these chats exist. So if you've invited 15 of your friends and they're already in the group and you're in the chat, go ahead and invite them into the chat with you, share the link for the chat, or just go to the top of the chat and hit the invite button and invite them all there too, not just into the group.
Yeah, and you bring up a valid point. So when we say invite into the chat, when you go into your chat and you click the state name, like let's say Colorado show up. That's usually that's the title of the chat. When you click on that, it opens up where you can mute the chat, you can exit the chat, you can see the group members, you can see invite. And when you click invite, it gives you a link option where you can copy the link, or you can just search for your friend that's in the group and invite them individually. If you copy the link and send it to them, then what happens is when they click on it, it like brings them right to that chat, which is helpful for those people who some don't have chats as an option on their main page for some reason, and also have a hard time navigating where chats is found under communities in the Messenger app. There are still a small percentage of members who do not have chats at all, less than before. So chats was a new-ish feature for groups starting right before we made this group in July. And news to us, we didn't know. It was always there for us, so we didn't know. We have learned through this journey that chats is a newish feature. And so they have Facebook. They are unrolling chats slowly. So my hope is that people that originally didn't have chats, I've heard people say, I didn't have it, but now I do. So I'm hoping that as Facebook updates and people that you will stick with us, please. If you don't have chats, just stick with us so that eventually you will have chats and you will be part of that conversation. Also, Janetta brings up a valid point of if you see people that are posting outside of their states and they're posting in because all you have access to all of the states, okay? So you can go to communities and to chats. You see all of the states. If you're bypassing the group rules and you are posting something in every single state because that doesn't go through an approval or denial process like the main group does, you will be banned immediately.
Yes.
Because it is a lot of work to individually go, and it might be very valid information. That is not the point. The point is those chat hosts are trying to do hard work in keeping conversation directed towards community action and local causes. And when you're bypassing main group rules and posting in every single state chat, you are being disruptive to the group. And it's pretty selfish because what you are sharing is no more or less important than somebody else's post that they want to share, and they're going through the right mechanism of posting that through the main group. So please don't be obnoxious, because at this point we don't have the time or the energy to deal with it. And the group rules are very clear. Go to the About tab on the main page. It gives you the About and it gives you all of the group rules. We don't have crazy rules. We have very, clear and easy to understand rules. So that's a good point about the chats.
And use the chats for community as well, like personal community. I see women coming in to post that they feel alone. They're not surrounded by women that are like them. They're in red states and they feel abandoned. Use your state chat for that. You may have a neighbor down the road that you don't even know exist, and they're in this group. So use that as well as a tool to feel accepted and not alone.
That just happened last night in one of the red states that my sister-in-law is a moderator. So every moderator, guys, has, by the way, 8 to 10 state chats that they help those state chat hosts kind of navigate, okay? And they're there to just be an extra added resource. And one of the moderators, I think she's overseeing Texas, noticed that there's only 40 some odd people in Texas, which is still an improvement from where we were. And one lady said, I live here. And all of a sudden someone else was like, oh my God, I live there too. And out of these 40 people in the huge state of Texas, 2 women were able to identify that they lived in the same town. This is what we're trying to achieve.
Yes.
We are not, and let me make it very clear, and I'm sorry to get loud on this. I am not going to live my life in fear. I am not going to navigate this group out of fear. It is private for those who identify as women for the same reason why it started in the beginning. It is not going to be a site where people are going to spread fear rhetoric about how we're going to be identified if or whenever Trump decides to do so. If that is to happen, guys, if social media is going to be interrogated and destroyed, it's going to happen on all platforms, okay? It's not going to be like, oh, we can't touch Signal because Signal's encrypted. That doesn't make any sense. if we're at a point in this country where social media is going to be shut down or our privacy is being invaded, it's not just going to be on a Facebook app. This is why the chats in the states are so important, that you're building actual human connection with your neighbors, because we need to think deeper than that. And I'm not doing this to be on a paranoid level, but truly underground networking is the only safe way of knowing who people are. And it's not going to be us in upstate New York that's going to be able to help anybody in Arizona. If things were shut down and we did not have social media to tie us all together, what we have is the people in our state chats that we get to know their name, where they are, meet for coffee, start a book club, start going to your local town meetings. You get to know who each other are in your area and where you live. I don't entertain any conversation going on in state chats that are about, we should move this to Signal, we should move this to Discord, I'm going to Blue Sky. You guys can do that. But we are not going to build community efforts by hiding more into other sources or apps that we have no control over if those get shut down. That is a waste of our time and energy. And it also is spreading fear about things that we cannot control. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But what they can't do is destroy your human connection with your neighbors that you have sat down and had coffee with, that you know lives on Pleasant Lane, a town over. Because when the internet goes down, and if that were to happen, that's the only thing that matters. But if you bury yourself into thinking that social media, or any platform for that matters in the internet, is actually a real connection, you are wrong. It is not. So get to know your neighbor. The only way you're going to do that, get off the main group, go into your chats, and really get to know where people are and offer a solution of a community action that bonds you together so that you know who your people are. I'll get off my soapbox now.
And everything doesn't have to be political. Everything you do in this group and in your chats and in your state and cities, et cetera, does not have to be a political movement.
Right.
It's, like we've said over and over, it's human rights, just connection. Just keep that in mind all the time. It's not always a political thing. Just move forward with the fact that we're here for each other.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, guys. And we hope to touch base in a couple of weeks. Peace.